Hello, everybody, and welcome inside the GCTV studios. I'm Ben Clements, and you're watching the GHS Sports Senior Spotlight, Episode 2. Today, I am joined by a running back on the football team who is committed to play college football next year at St. Anselm. This year, he rushed for over 100 yards in every single game he played, including 3 200-plus yards performances. Mr. Finn Gilmore, welcome to the show.
How we doing?
Doing great, Finn. It's great to have you here. I feel like a lot of people in town know who you are. They know about your athletic success here at Grafton, so I'm sure they're excited like me to have you here and back to the community,
Yeah, I mean, we definitely made ourselves known this year for the football team.
Yes.
We had a great season.
Definitely, and I'm looking forward to getting into that. I want to start off today with kind of the beginning of your career at Grafton High School. I mean, right now we're in senior year, but let's go all the way back to freshman year, those underclassmen years. Everybody has different experiences, but for you as an underclassman, what were sports like at Grafton High School?
Sports were something else. I mean, they were always kind of like a guiding light to me. So I really based everything I did off sports. Everything I wanted to do outside of school was kind of based around that, whether I was going to the field with the guys. Yeah, we were all freshmen and sophomores. We weren't the best, but we had a great team, great group of guys. And so we always just came together. So like freshman year for football, we had very strong senior captains. They were they really left their mark in me kind of thing because they were so vocal. The kind of culture they kind of rested on me was something different that I hadn't experienced yet. And it kind of left the mark on me that I just kind of wanted to keep carrying through of like that hard work, that brotherhood, that sticking together kind of mentality. And then I played baseball. So in the spring, I'm playing with the baseball team, and some of those football captains, like Charlie McMahon, he was a great leader. He was a fun guy to be around, but he was also, when it came down to the moment, he was locked in, helped us out, and was a great leader for everyone.
Of course, the guy who's now playing football over at Castleton up in Vermont, definitely a great guy to look up to for you. So I'm talking about the underclassmen years now. Now we kind of move into football. You start to become a little more focused on football. We start to move into your junior year. And the first time I can remember hearing your serious contributions to the football team, I want to say it was, correct me if I'm wrong, sophomore year, Thanksgiving Day game against Millbury. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I want to say you took a punt back for a touchdown that game. See, look at my memory. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel like when it all started. But when did you feel like things kind of like took the next step for you in your football career? You kind of became the guy.
Next step, definitely my junior year. So, but it really started in sophomore year because after that Millbury game, the coaches kind of realized, like, okay, maybe we do have a guy within this little kid who's not that big, not that strong, not that fast, but maybe he showed something. We'll see. And so that just kind of put me on a path to just really work and grind that off season during the summer. So I was in the weight room with the guys. I was going to the field, working out, running routes, making up plays. It was just, they kind of just set the tone for me to kind of grow. And then going into my junior year, I was still not looked upon very highly. I was very far down the kind of, the depth chart. I was pretty low down because I had two upperclassmen along with 2 other juniors who were still on top of me on the depth chart. And it was just more hard work. Like, I really made my way I started as a punter. My first varsity snaps, like, if you don't count that sophomore game, were me coming in to punt and then to play safety. I never even ran the ball with them that much.
I mean, it's crazy when you think about how far you really came from. And of course, you still punted during senior year, but you go from punter and now all of a sudden you're the RB1. I mean, how did that happen exactly? I mean, there's got to be a lot of hard work behind the scenes, but to some of us like me, we come in and now all of a sudden you're the RB1 and you kind of start to take the show over and the stats start to come in. That started to happen junior year for me. Like, take me behind the scenes of that.
Behind the scenes, it was just dedication. We had a great group of captains that were strong leaders, and but there was always a hole that needed to be filled, not with the captains, but just in the team in general. And I wanted to be that guy that could fill that role. So I used to play goalie in soccer when I was a little kid. So I'm like, punting. I knew how to do that. I'll try it out. Why not? So I did, and I was pretty okay at it. So I got that role, and then as the season progressed, we got towards around week 5 was when or week 4 actually, was when I got my first kind of break because the 2 guys in front of me got hurt. They fell to injury, and I was the next guy up because I just kept working my butt off to get to that point. And that week 4, I forget who we were playing, but I remember I came in second half of the game and showed that I could do something. I think I had a touchdown of like 70-something yards. Then I got my next real break was the week after against Shrewsbury. I'll never forget this game. I had a few touchdowns and 100-something yards. It was a great breakout game, but it was just all the guys around me were supporting me because they knew that we're only going to be better if we like kind of stick together. And so they just gave me that opportunity.
Yeah. And of course we saw stat lines like that game against Shrewsbury a lot this year. Who were those guys in front? I'm struggling to remember. Who were those guys in front of you junior year?
Junior year, we had guys like Chase Diamond, Riley McCann, Austin McCormick, Connor Shepard.
I mean, that's a powerful line right there. That's a bunch of juniors. Riley McCann was a big guy. I know he was a huge factor in there.
Absolutely.
So now I want to talk about this past senior year. And if you don't know, Finn had an incredible past senior year. I'm going to read a couple of your stats here. It was a record-breaking year for you, really. This season, you averaged 153 rushing yards per game, rushed for a total of 1,531 yards over the course of the year, and 25 touchdowns. Pretty legendary numbers, if I do say so myself. Take me through the senior year. I mean, you guys made a really nice run. It was a hard loss at the end of Scituate, but a really complete year almost. Some big victories, some big stat lines for you. Take me through it all.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it comes back to our coaching and the leadership that we put on the field. I was lucky enough to be elected a captain by my fellow teammates, which is a huge honor to me. I've always wanted to be a guy that can represent. And it started a week after junior year ended. We made it to semifinals. We lost to Scituate. Tough loss, but we'll come back. We still had our senior year. We had a strong group of guys. We had some 21 seniors this year that graduated. Huge class.
Ridiculous. I mean, that doesn't happen typically, but this year you guys were blessed with that.
Absolutely. So we come in week after, we're already in the weight room. Guaranteed. Like, we've been doing this since I was a freshman. Coming in a week after the season ends, we're already lifting, preparing for the next season. Like Coach McMahon, who now retired, but hey, he had a great career. And I mean, I was very proud to be one of his seniors for his last career season. And we came in, we started working, grinding. We set an automatic tone of just the legacy we wanted to leave behind. So that's a word that we used to break down. If by the end of the season, we had such a brotherhood and a connection built up from this group of guys that we left everything we had on the field. And it was just those days that the dog days of August, first days of camp, where everyone's crying, there's sweating, there's blood. Everyone's just really working their butts off, trying to get better for each other. And then in week 1 against Ashland, we blew them out. And that just showed, we were like, okay, this is legit. We got a great group of guys here.
I remember that game against Ashland. I remember thinking, everyone was saying in the week leading up to the game, it's going to be a close game. And then you guys go into their house and you just blow them out. And that's when it first kind of clicked for me, like, okay, this team is going to be dangerous. You go on, undefeated regular season. There wasn't really too many challenges for you guys. I mean, you were blowing through everybody. I know Holliston was maybe the closest regular season game, if I remember correctly, 21-3, I think, on the road. But Guys got it done there. Move on to the playoffs. You get a couple of big wins there. I don't know if you want to dive into the playoffs at all. I mean, that's when you guys really had to lock in. I remember big game against Marblehead in that second round. I was hyped up a lot. You guys swept through it. Anything that sticks out to you from the playoffs this year?
I mean, playoffs were special. Senior year playoffs, you don't forget them. I know I never will. But it was the quarterfinals for us. This was a big game. It was right before semis where we didn't know who we were facing yet, but we knew they were going to be a good team with great competition. So we came into that Bedford game and we were like, okay, we got to come out here. We really have to leave our mark and show and really represent what Grafton football was, and that we were a powerhouse that could not be won over easily. And so we come in this Bedford game, first play, I get nailed in the side of the knee, sprain my MCL. I'm thinking I'm done.
Yeah.
But I'm just at the same time, I'm sitting on. I have to take myself out. I sit on the sideline, and my trainer goes, "Are you okay?" She's messing around with my knee. My knee's buckling, and I'm like, "Yeah, just tape it up. I have to get back out there because my teammates need me." And I mean, they really didn't. Let's be fair. The depth we had in this team were absurd.
Incredible. I mean, we talk about your stats, right, as the RB1. Right behind you, the RB2, Owen Belanger, had some pretty incredible stats as well. I mean, to have a guy behind you like that, like, I don't think that's something most teams have at all, especially not in high school football. And when it comes down to a crunch time like the playoffs, like, that's a really important weapon to have. You say you go out in Bedford. I mean, I remember Owen stepping right up and having a few big runs. That's really crucial, honestly.
He always did. There's no such thing as a single running back. It's an RB pair, it's an RB room. And we always pride ourselves on showtime and showing up and being the best group in the state. And I wholeheartedly believe that. I mean, if you look, you don't even need to look at me. Just the guys that were behind us that fueled the RB room were studs. OB came out and he was the RB2, but he could be an RB1 at any other school easily. He was a stud. And then, I mean, the core of the guys that are building us up, the underclassmen, they were fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, just overall, I want to congratulate you on a great career, a great senior year. I mean, you guys were really successful. Obviously a tough loss to Situate, but, you know, they're a great team, and that was a hard-fought game for you guys. So now, I mean, your high school career is over, but now we're kind of moving on to the next phase. You just recently made it public knowledge that next year you will be playing college football at St. Anselm up in New Hampshire. First of all, kudos to you. A lot of hard work goes into that. So,
absolutely.
Congratulations. I want to ask you a little bit about the recruiting process, because that's something that I'm sure a lot of people tuning into this are interested in. You know, people want to play sports in college. That's a serious thing. So maybe if you could take them through the basics of what the recruiting process was like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the recruiting process, it's no joke. I'm not sure the exact percentage of high school athletes that go on to play college, but it's extremely low.
Very low. Yeah.
I'm a lucky one of few. And it paid off to my work, the work I put in, and I owe it to them. Like, also my parents and my teammates and my coaches, they pushed me to go on and really try. And it was based off my junior fill. So I came in, ended that junior year. I had a very good, solid end to my junior year. And I made my film. I posted it on Huddle, posted it on Twitter, because I'm like, why not? I don't know if I want to go play college football or if I want to go play collegiate baseball. I was still looking into both, thinking like, yeah, I could do both. I mean, that's a real select few right there.
Yes, definitely. That's a much lower number than that. But
oh yeah. And so I make my Huddle tape. I release it on Twitter, or X now, sorry. And I get a couple guys reach out to me, a couple schools that reach out to me, like Williams, I think Middlebury, and then Ithaca and St. A's were one of the initial groups of people that came out and reached out to me. And they were all like, come to camps. Go to camps. You have to go to camps. If you go to these football camps that are started in May, or actually, no, I did my first one was in April.
Wow.
At Wesleyan out in, where is that? I'm not sure, but it was a drives away. So we go out there to Wesleyan, first camp. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared out of my mind. And I just go out there. I run a 40 time. It was like a 4.7. I'm like, I'm faster than that. But I only got one chance. And that's the thing with these camps is you don't get as many opportunities as you like. So you have to force yourself to be at the front of the line, even if it's scary. And it was through those camps that I kind of got my name more recognized. I really worked my butt off to get to those points where I could show off what I had, like, capability-wise. And, it was at St. Anselm at their own camp, May 3rd. It was the day before my prom. I'm out in Manchester, New Hampshire, doing a football camp, knowing I'm going to be sore for the next day, where I'm going to be walking around for 5 hours. I go, I don't care. I have a camp to go to. I have a name to represent and a town to represent. So I go out there, I work my butt off, and I was lucky enough to be named. I won my skill group. And it was a true honor, because that really bolstered my success in the recruiting realm. And I ultimately got an offer from St. Anselm, because it's the camps that really do matter. It's the camps that go out there, but you also have to be willing to talk to these coaches, be personable, you know, like say hi to them, introduce yourself. You can't just show up and just do a camp because, yeah, coaches will find skill, but you have to make yourself known. You want to be a teammate first.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really valuable advice. It's definitely about on the field. It's definitely about off the field too. I think that's good advice. I think you definitely also embody that spirit of grit and grind, like we were talking about, you know, just going in there and working hard. And I think you set a really good example for a lot of people because, I mean, you're just a guy. I mean, we all are. But, you know, if you really want to play college athletics, it's a lot of work. But I mean, you can work hard like Finn did. So I think it's a great example to everyone out there. I want to talk about next year now. I mean, you must be really excited going into St. A's, you know, big freshman year.
Yeah.
What are you excited for next year? What are you looking forward to? What are your goals for the collegiate career, really?
Goals, I want to be a starter. I want to make my name known, and I want to represent my hometown. I want to be one of those guys that gets elected an All-American or an All-Star or an MVP, because that's my competitive spirit I've always had. But going into this freshman year, like any freshman going into any, whether it's high school or college, needs to understand that, okay, you may be talented enough to make the team, but you first have to earn a spot. Like you need to work your way through, whether that's in the special teams, like I did here. I didn't just immediately get thrown into a spot of varsity position. I had to earn my way onto a varsity spot, and that's my plan. Whether that's in the weight room and then also in the classroom, keeping my grades up so I am able to enjoy football and not be worried about the stresses that it brings.
Yeah, definitely. Right. I was going to say it's a perfect example of what you did at Grafton High School and just kind of applying it to the next level up in college. You know,
Absolutely.
They're maybe not as dissimilar as you would think. Well, you know, thanks for being here with us today, Finn. I really appreciate you coming out here and getting the chance to talk to you. It's great, not because of your incredible success on the field, but it's great to just talk to a guy who embodies the spirit of his hometown. You know, you talk a lot about representing Grafton, and
yes,
you know, that's really awesome to hear because, you know, let's put Grafton on the map, you know, and why not, right? And why not through guys like you? Is there anything else you might want to say to anyone who's watching? I know I feel like you're an inspiration to a lot of people in the town. Is there anything you'd want to say to people who look up to be like you, who want to go on to play football at a St. A's one day, who want to be the varsity starter who's rushing for 100 yards every game?
Thank you. But I mean, I don't know how many guys are looking up to me, but I can say this, that you want to be a teammate first. Who cares what you do on the field if you're not a good person off of it? And that's what I kind of pride myself on. So if I were to leave something, that would be it.
Well said. Well said. Well, thanks again, Finn, and thank you for watching this episode of the GHS Sports Senior Spotlight. I'm Ben Clements. We'll see you next time.